It's now time for Energy Insights, where you get an inside view and local perspectives of all the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley. This program is being brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association and can be heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. on local radio WMOA AM 1490 and ESPN radio WJAW FM 100.9 and AM 630. It's now time for the show. Here's Johnny Wharf, your local host. Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WMOA and ESPN Radio WJAW as Johnny Wharf brings you your local and inside perspectives of the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley.
Energy Insights on a Saturday morning, and again, an opportunity to continue our conversation about the Oil and Gas Museum and the history of oil and gas, which is how this show came about. Maybe get a little smarter as we go forward. But with us is Paul Hobiztel, president of the Oil and Gas Museum in Parkersburg, and also Michael Thomas, who is the corporate secretary. And Mr. Hobiztel, we talked last week about the connections, and Michael brought it up. I guess I didn't realize the different entities that are under the same auspices as the Oil and Gas Museum. So we'll start with Henderson Hall. Most people know where it is. I'm not sure a lot of people know what it's about, so maybe you can help us there.
Well, it's on Old River Road, south of Williamstown. It was built in the 1850s, basically, a little before for part, and a little afterwards. 7 generations lived in the mansion. They didn't throw anything away. Their clothes, their toys, their tools, kitchen items, all their furniture. It's just all original, all antiques. And one of the interesting things is that Jock Henderson was talking to a fellow once, and they asked him where the Hendersons got all their antiques, and he said, well, the Hendersons don't buy antiques because they were all new when they bought them.
That's good. It kind of plays right into it, to where a lot of the items in this particular Oil and Gas Museum where we sit right now came from. But Michael, as far as the exhibits go, and it looks fairly chronological when you walk in the door. We start with, where it all began, and then it moves right into Burning Springs and the history behind that area as it relates to this. Can you give me a little bit of a segue in there?
Yeah, the Burning Springs was the first major oil field here in West Virginia. And we have a nice exhibit where Terry Shamp put together that shows how things progressed at that field as well. Also, back to the Hendersons, during that period, they were living across the river at a part that wasn't quite as productive, but the Henderson Records has a lot about the beginning oil field as well.
Okay, and then
Yeah, they came from Virginia and into Wirt County, and there's actually Henderson Run in Wirt County, which is pretty close to Burning Springs. So that's kind of how they also got involved in oil.
And then I imagine that you guys are right here because I had asked you kindly if you'd take some time to talk to me. But where would you be most of the time in terms of as it relates to the different properties? Where would you be if somebody wanted to see you or talk to you about any of these things?
Generally here at the museum.
Okay.
I live near Charleston. I'm not here a whole lot, but this is where I would be.
All right. And how about you?
Well, I'm pretty much available all the time. I'm in and out of the museum. We have a fellow by the name of Larry that kind of looks after the docents and so on. He's here a lot, but we can be reached most any time.
All right, and since he said that, I'll say you can call me and ask me because I have both their numbers and I know how to find them. So if you have any questions of the president of the Oil and Gas Museum, Paul Hobiztel, and the corporate secretary, Michael Thomas, you can give me a call at the radio station. I'll make sure to hook you up with them at their convenience. And again, I appreciate you guys being on the show. Energy Insights on a Saturday morning, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association.
Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WMON ESPN Radio WJAW as Johnny Wolf brings you your local and inside perspectives of the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley. Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WMON ESPN Radio WJAW as Johnny Wolf brings you your local and inside perspectives of the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley.